You know who I really appreciate? The folks over there at the Grindline Pod. Last time we had made a video talking about the Red Wings, we used their tweet as sort of the conversation starter, the topic, the script, if you may. And they reached out after the fact and hit me up on Twitter saying, yeah, happy to help out, thanks for the shout out, etc., etc. So big shout out to these guys once more, because when it comes to this video topic, it's a really intriguing one that I think sort of opens the door to a bigger conversation as to what could be happening with not the Detroit Red Wings, but the Philadelphia Flyers. Let's take a look as to what Jeff Marek said on the Hockey Night in Canada intermission segment regarding the Flyers and their organization. Now, we just know that Chuck Fletcher was fired the other day. I did not make a video about that. I was kind of out and about doing other things, but this is what Marek said on the weekend regarding the Flyers and their situation. Marek at the intermission says they're starting to wonder about Carter Hart with the emergence of Samuel Ersson. They can extend Hart, but does he want to spend the prime of his career in what looks like will be a complete teardown and rebuild in Philly? Now, just to get it out of the way, the other guy that was mentioned here, Samuel Ersson, is a pretty intriguing player. He's 23 years old, 6'2", 176, is a goaltender drafted by the Flyers back in 2018 in the 5th round. This season, he's been playing up and down with the Lehigh Valley Phantoms and the Philadelphia Flyers. He's got an .898 save percentage in Philly and a .907 save percentage in Lehigh Valley. Not amazing numbers per se, but with the Flyers, he is at a 6-1-0 record, and he's got a shutout in 10 games played. So this guy really has been, quote-unquote, carrying the team when it comes to just plain old winning percentage. Carter Hart has 17 wins, 21 losses, and 10 overtime losses, so yeah, you could definitely see that Ersson is the guy with the best numbers right here, and it's not even really close. Save percentage-wise, it actually does go to Hart. He's got a .906 save percentage and a .296 goals against in 48 games, but when we go by wins and losses, Ersson is the guy on top. Carter Hart, on the other hand, is 24 years old. He was drafted back in the 2nd round, 2016. We all kind of know the pedigree that Carter Hart in his profile contains back when he was the Team Canada starter, for example. He had a .930 save percentage in 6 games played. Gold medal finalist guy, and he was so good back in 2017, 2018. His Everett Silvertips numbers were also just out of the water, bananas incredible, a .947 save percentage in 41 games played, a .160 goals against as well. And the season after that, with the Flyers, the guy posted up a .917 save percentage. Now, back in this time frame, he was, 20 years old? You almost never see 20-year-old goaltenders go out there and do this well in the NHL right off the bat. But Carter Hart had that sort of profile, and it carried over into his next season's worth of play, too. He had a .926 save percentage in 14 playoff games for the Flyers. He outdueled Carey Price in the first round of that year's playoffs. And overall, I mean, even though they lost, the numbers are still pretty good. 223 goals against, .926 save percentage in the playoffs as a, 21-year-old goaltender? Crazy good stuff, right? And we'd been making videos about Hart ever since his days with the Everett Silvertips, talking about how he was one of the best goaltenders not in the NHL, this and that, and it was really good. However, give it a few more seasons, and Carter Hart really drops off in terms of his numbers. .877 save percentage in 2020-2021. .905 save percentage in 2021-2022. This season, as we had said, .906 save percentage in 48 games played, and now you have Jeff Marek going out there asking about his contract extension. Right now, he's making 3.9 AAV against the cap till the end of 2024, but it was brought up as to whether or not the Flyers would have Carter Hart's best interests, if he would want to stick around, because the team is really going through that rebuild, and there is another goaltender in Ersson who has sort of worked his way up and been kind of the underdog in this situation. This is where the folks over at Grindline went out there and made a post on this NHL Watcher tweet talking about Jeff Marek. Carter Hart to Detroit? Simple question, let's go into it. I wouldn't be against it, the Grindline folks says. The Wings will have to find the cap floor next season. I feel like they'll try and sign Suitor in the summer. They may wait on Raymond, but a tandem of Hart and Husso could be really fun. And this is sort of where things get interesting too, because when it comes to Carter Hart, he's a guy that if you wanted to use the argument that Yzerman has done this before, he's traded for goaltenders that had pedigree, but kind of fell off a little bit. He did that with Husso. Husso had a good 21-22, but his postseason performance was not great. An .890 save percentage, .367 goals against, 7 playoff games, and then Yzerman makes the trade and sends him over to Detroit. Nedeljkovic had a pretty opposite sort of situation because that guy was coming off a .932 save percentage in the regular season and a .920 save percentage in the postseason before getting sent over to the Wings. Now, that playoff run for the Hurricanes in 2021, you could very much debate that Nedeljkovic was arguably the reason they lost, and it's a very weird selected argument to bring up because he did have such good numbers, but I remember so many Hurricanes fans back in that time frame saying, yeah, I mean, he could have been better. Like, I don't know, man. I don't want to go out there and blame anybody losing on one particular guy, but .920 save percentage in isolation is still pretty good. This Carter Hart situation would be more so in the territory of that Ville Husso situation. You have a guy who is really good in the past, but not all too great anymore. Is it a product of the team in front of him, or has he really just fallen off? One thing's for sure, though, he has improved from that .877 save percentage he had in 2020-2021. His win-to-loss ratio hasn't improved in the slightest, but his numbers have gotten back up there. Let's head over onto Spectres Hockey on March 12th, 2023, because what they did, or what Lyle Richardson did, it's one guy who does this, was he pretty much summarized the Carter Hart bit from Jeff Marek's intermission segment. Marek wonders about Carter Hart's future with the Flyers given the emergence of goaltender Samuel Ersson, who's been up and down this season between the big club and their AHL affiliate. Hart has a year remaining on his contract, but the Flyers can extend him this summer. However, if they're going to go through a rebuild, Marek wondered what Hart could fetch on the trade market, and if the 24-year-old netminder wants to spend the best seasons of his career with a rebuilding team. The reason I'm bringing this up is because Spectre's note goes out there and talks about this in more detail. Hart was supposed to be the franchise goalie the Flyers have been looking for since Ron Hextall's glory days in the late 1980s. He showed plenty of promise in his first 2 seasons, including outdueling Montreal Canadiens goaltender Carey Price in the 2020 playoffs. However, he struggled the following season and has had to deal with a depleted team in front of him since 21-22. Hart carries an affordable 3.9 AAV and lacks no trade protection. He's also eligible for salary arbitration. Given Hart's age and potential, the Flyers shouldn't have any trouble finding suitors this summer if they decide to tear it all down or if he's reluctant to be part of a long rebuild process. As Marek suggested, Hart's situation will be something worth watching in the offseason. And so, when it comes to the Wings potentially being that pick, I wanted you to let me know in the comments all your opinions about this and how it should go down. What do you think Carter Hart is worth on the trade market? Do you think Stevie Y could afford to go out there and get a 1A, 1B type of guy for this team? Do you still believe in Alex Nedeljkovic? Do you think that guy has it in him to become what people would expect out of Carter Hart should Hart get traded over to the Wings? Are you still a believer in Ned? Or are you looking at that .880 save percentage and saying, yeah, no, get that guy away from my Red Wings? Next season, it's kind of difficult to project where the Wings are going to go, especially since they just lost out on Hronek, they just traded away Bertuzzi. It's kind of interesting looking at the direction here. But I wanted you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Once again, big shout out over to the Grindline guys. They do some pretty good work consistently, and, you know, of course, I was on the show, so they're pretty good friends of mine, and they provided me with yet another video topic conversation to be having. So yeah, awesome material all around. I definitely do think Carter Hart has it in him to be better than he has been the past few years. It's just, I don't know if he's going to be as good as the out-dueling Carey Price guy, 917 plus guy like he was at 20 years old type of guy, because that's just incredible. But either way, you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section about Carter Hart, his overall resume, what you could see out of him if he does become a winged wheel player, and whether or not you think that's the right fit. Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this Juraj 9, and bye.